Hello, Corey Lefevre. This is everyone, and welcome you back to Garden Fever. Today I got an exciting episode for you again. Normally, at this time of year, I'm out in the garden. It's springtime, and we're just barely hitting nice weather. So I'm normally preparing the garden, but one of my indoor plants is blooming a very beautiful red leaf, and I just had to do a video on it. So today we are doing a video on the Ficus Elastica Ruby, better known as the Ruby Rubber. For those of you who know the rubber tree family or the ficus tree family as far as tropical indoor plants, this is a rubber behind me. The one we're talking about today is going to be a variegated variety of the rubber. The leaves on the Ruby Rubber are variegated, which means that they have a variety of colors. They have a reddish pink tint to them, which is absolutely beautiful and is usually what draws most people in. So with that, we will get right into it. Here is the information that we need for those who just want to jump straight to the point. But for those who want a more detailed explanation, let's get right into it. The variegated varieties of plants that you see, this is my Ruby Rubber, and it came from a cutting from Hold On To Your Planties, so I wanted to thank you for that because it's a beautiful plant. They're well known for their shiny big leaves. They tend to not spoil in any way, so they keep their form, and they're very stiff and shiny, and a lot of people like that. So as you can see, this beautiful pink leaf I got coming in right here, but as you can also tell on the leaves, they're variegated. So the lighter parts, here's a pro tip for you, the lighter part of these leaves, because they're variegated, they don't produce photosynthesis like a normal green leaf would. So the lighting on them is relatively comparable to the rubber that you can see behind me. But because it's variegated, it doesn't produce photosynthesis in the lighter green parts, which makes it more difficult to absorb the light that it needs. And this is often a big mistake when it comes to, not necessarily a mistake, but this is something that a lot of rookies or new people that are growing plants make, because they'll go to the store and they'll see a beautiful pink and green Ruby Rubber, and they're like, oh, I want that plant in my house. So they bring it back to their house and they put it in an adequate light enough for the plant to live, but not quite adequate enough to get the vibrant colors. So it just produces green and the lighter colors and not the red. It happens with crotons too. This is because the light still is not quite adequate enough for this kind of variegation, and that is the key to having them remain colorful inside of your home. So you may need to up or have brighter light than you would normally do for, let's say, a rubber behind me, because it's enough to produce leaves, but it's not enough to have the vibrant colors. So there's a pro tip for you. The Ruby Rubber has medium to bright indirect light. You do want it kind of in the brighter side so that the variegated leaves can be more vibrant and absorb the adequate light that they need. When it comes to watering, you're going to want to water the top to where the top fills, let it absorb down, so you want loose and loomy, well-drained soil. But you don't want to leave it in there, so you want it to be mildly moist so that it dries out relatively quick. You don't want it to sit in the water too long. You want to take the leaves and wipe them off so they maintain that shiny, clean look. They're real easy to wipe off because they're a stiffer leaf and they're large. Another thing you can do is spray it down with neem oil, and that'll give it a very nice coating, a bright shine coating on the leaves. It likes temperatures between 60 to 77 degrees, which makes the Ruby Rubber and the rubber behind me a perfect house plant if you don't live in those native environments. It likes around 40 to 60, it can do in relatively normal humidity around 40 to 60%, but anything below that, if you live in a desert like I do here in Utah, spraying it down with a spray bottle occasionally or having a humidifier next to it will benefit it. However, it can be okay and can grow fine in just relatively normal house humidity, but it is a good idea to spray it down or give it a little extra. Cut off any dying leaves so that it can focus the energy on the healthy ones. It's okay to clip it. And just the same as your herbs, if you notice on my plants, there's one stem with a bunch of leaves, and a lot of people have that, but you can actually bush these plants out and have it way more bushy simply by pruning the top. And I'll give an example here because I'm going to actually prune the rubber behind me here soon, so I'll do that at the end of this video just as an example. I'm not going to prune my ruby rubber because it has not been in that pot too long. It's still kind of small, so we'll let it grow for a little while before I clip it. But you can clip the top and you can take the stems and root them and put them in another pot, the cutting. It just depends on what you're trying to do. But if you'd like to bush it out and have multiple stems, you're going to need to clip or prune the top in order to do that. 15 degrees Celsius is probably the minimum temperature you want to draw. It takes the rubber around 20 years to reach maturity, so it can be a long growing plant. If you leave the single stem, it'll grow to much taller lengths and will reach those heights, where if you take the tip and prune it so that you can bush it out, it won't reach quite that height, but you'll get a much wider and more leaves plant, more bushed. You can propagate the rubber tree or the variegated variety, the ruby rubber, by air layering, and you can also do it by cuttings. Okay, you can see right here, see that little nubule right there in the armpit? When I prune it, that's going to turn into another stem. So I'll probably cut it right below that, but that's still right at the top, so I may go lower. Let's see if we can get a shot. But all the stems that, if you can see, there's a little nub right there, they all have it. So you want to cut right above it, kind of right there. Now I could either cut it right here, and I actually do think, now that I think more about it, that's actually a good bush size, so we're going to do right here. It's kind of hard to film and do this at the same time, but you want a 40 degree, 45 degree angle cut if you can do it. You want it to be smooth, a smooth cut. Sterilize your clippers and make it a smooth cut. Now the liquid, as you can see, is pouring out. That stuff is toxic, so you just want to kind of clean that up. And make sure that it's not ingested or in your eyes or anything. So with that, I want to thank you for coming and joining me. Thanks for watching my video and taking the time. I really do appreciate it. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, comment, bell, and all that fun stuff. But really hit that like button. It helps the YouTube algorithm, gets the videos out there, and that really helps me, and it helps the information get out to the world. Leave a comment if there's anything about this plant that I have forgotten and you know about it that I don't want to share. Please leave a comment. I'm always down for a good conversation. Let's make this world a paradise, 1 yard at a time. I think we have the capability, the smarts, and the know-how to do it. Let's do it.